Let me show you how I made 25 pips trading the pound yen yesterday using a scenario that I showed you on my video on Sunday. Then I'm going to show you how to make some money for the rest of the week. Let's get into it. What's going on, everyone? I am back for another chart breakdown video, and today I'm going to do what I said in the intro, where I'm going to show you the trade that I took to make some money yesterday, and then I'm going to show you how to make some money for the rest of this week. I'm also going to go over a little bit of the news as well. Please don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Please help me hit my 100 subscriber goal. It's my first big milestone as a channel. I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe. Let's get into it. So let's quickly replay the open from yesterday. So this is what the chart looked like last week on Sunday when I did my past video. Some of my scenarios were it was going to go pull back up. Oh, let's change the color of the line. It's going to pull back up, double top, and it could go short, where I'm going to be looking for longs from this location, or this location. It didn't do the pullback yesterday, but I could still expect it to be doing a pullback. I'll show you again later in the video. And then another one of my scenarios is that price pushed down, and then it broke the high, came up to this level, the 185.20, pulled back to the 185 before it went long, up to my target was the 185.70 area, 75. So I wanted to find the entry at the 185 on the pullback. So now let's see and analyze what happened yesterday. Let's quickly end this replay mode. Okay, so we saw price pull down, hit this EMA, went up, tested the level, pulled back to 185, and continued long. But if we look at what time this happened at, this was at 12 a.m. So right at the turn of the morning. So if I go down and show you the 5-minute chart, I can show you where I entered for the London session. So the London session opened right here. So I wasn't able to enter at 185 because I wasn't awake yet to trade it there. So unfortunately, I missed my ideal entry for this trade at 185. And if we look where the 185 trade ended up at, it ended up hitting my target up here at 75. It did end up going a little bit higher, but my target was really the 75 area because I could have seen a reaction a little bit earlier. So how did I take this trade for the London session? At London, it went down. If you were in the call or in the chat on Monday for the London session, this 20 was one of the levels that I did call out. I didn't take it here because I didn't know if the London session was just going to lose momentum and reverse. I just took the breakout above the high. So this was the trade that I took. Took the breakout here. I had a relatively tight stop, I would say right around there. And I took price right up to here. So it was about 25 pips, 1.5 hour trade. I sized up on this trade because for me, this was a high expectancy trade. Because if we're looking at the bigger picture, if we zoom out, my intermediate time frame and intraday time frame trends are up, and if I zoom out on a much higher time frame, my higher time frame trend is also up. So I had all of my trends in the same direction. So this is one that I like to size up. All of my trends are in the same direction. It's a breakout trade, showing momentum, breaking the session high. Everything was in my favor for this trade. It was a really good trade. Nothing more to say. I called it out, and hopefully I can call out some more trades here for the upcoming days. So let's go to a 1 hour chart and look at the scenarios for the upcoming couple of days. One thing before we start here on the scenarios, I do want to point out something that is very important, and that is, look at this high here. I wouldn't really call this a high, that's just a mini pullback, but this is another pivot, and this is a pivot here. And look at the trend. It's currently going down right now. But remember, we're in the context of an uptrend still. And something important to note is what the Japanese bank has said. So Governor Ueda, what he said, they're weak on the yen. So I think we can expect to see this pound yen continue long over the course of a few weeks or months based on what they've currently said. If they say something else, it can always change. So I'm still going to be looking primarily for longs. I'm going to be very bullish on this. Obviously, that can change intraday based on what is the setup for that session. But overall, I'm going to be looking more for longs. But the lower time frame trend is developing as a short currently until it reaches a higher time frame area of support or demand. for price to continue long. So what is going to be that level that I'm looking for? The first major level is here. And then I'm also going to be looking at the lower level down here and eventually the lower level down here. So why am I looking at this level at 184.30, or let's call it 20 to 40? So it's a 20 pip range, and it's because of this previous high to left over here. So it's the previous structure point. So usually the way that charts move is we go something like this. We break a level, break above, and we pull back to the previous structure point before we see a continuation of the trend. Now, could we pull back a little bit deeper? I believe we could, and it's because this area here at 183.70 has proven to be a super important level of resistance. So look how many times we tested. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, all through the same exact level. So I think we could pull back a little bit deeper down into 183.70 before we continue that long. So my main scenarios are going to be waiting for price to come short into one of these levels and then look for a long on the lower time frame based on a confirmation entry. So something like that. That's my bigger picture analysis. Now, tomorrow, if we see price hovering around here, going sideways here, let me delete these lines quickly. If we see price hovering just here, basing going sideways, I will potentially look to take a short scalp down into the level. If we have a lot of momentum, I may try and scale out here, wait for a pullback, and see if price does continue lower to a deeper level, either at 184 or this 183.70 area where I want to see price come down to. Now, if price just goes long and doesn't even pull back to these levels, once price breaks above, if we get a close and break above this 185.50, we can see it pull back and then continue up to retest the highs. Something I do want to point out about this 50 level though is the 4-hour chart. So the 50 is very, very important because if we look at the 4-hour, it's this strong rejection here, strong rejection candle. So I think we could see a reaction when price does come back up to 50, where it could react back to the downside at least a little bit before we continue back long to retest the end of the wick. Okay, so those are my main scenarios for the rest of the week. Let's quickly take a look at this news. So today is Tuesday, not much for the rest of this day. Wednesday, we have Governor Bailey speaking for the Bank of England, which could impact the pound yen because it's the pound. So I'll be watching very carefully at 4:30. Be careful for probably around an hour while he's speaking. You never know what he could say that could affect the pound. And then Powell speaking could also affect the dollar. We'll have to see what he says. Here again, we have more yen news, BOJ summary of opinions. I don't know if this is going to change anything that Governor Ueda has says. So we need to just look out for that just in case it changes any of the yen sentiment, but not too major in my opinion. Thursday, we have dollar unemployment claims, super important again. And then the big news for the pound for the rest of the week is going to be this pound GDP. Potentially, we could see a slower market until this GDP news steps in. Again, that's me just making an assumption of what we could see in the market. But usually when we get news, we get more volatility and a bigger range for the day. So I'm thinking potentially smaller ranges until we pull back to a level, pound GDP comes out, and then we get the pound yen ripping. We'll have to wait and see. That's going to be all for this video. Please remember to subscribe. Help me hit that 100 subscriber goal. It would really help me out. Thank you. Good luck trading for the rest of the week, and I'll see you on Sunday.